Today we're going to talk about mounting pressure gauges. We have three of the most common mounting brackets available: front flange, back flange, and the U-clamp mounting bracket. The front flange and U-clamp are great for mounting gauges with a connection on the back. They can be used by themselves or in tandem. A back flange bracket should be used with a lower mount gauge, which has a connection on the bottom, or a left or right side gauge. The front flange mounting bracket fits over a back connection gauge like this, with a flared edge at the back. It'll be a tight fit, so be sure to remove the protective film and any stickers that surround the gauge's case to make sure the bracket fits easier. Be sure to read them first. There's important information on those stickers. You may also need to remove the liquid fill cap, but if you do, be sure to keep the gauge upright so that you don't spill any oil. Note where the fastener holes are located around the bracket. If your panel has pre-drilled starter holes, orient your gauge's face to the correct position before attaching the mounting bracket. It's easier to do it now than it is after it has been attached. Apply pressure evenly. The cut steel on the mounting brackets can be fairly sharp, so be careful when applying pressure. Once you have the bracket attached to the gauge, you can install it into a pre-cut panel via screws or bolts and connect whatever tubing you need to it. A U-clamp like this one can be used with liquid-filled back-mounted gauges. You can use it in conjunction with a front flange mounting bracket, but you don't have to use both at the same time if you don't want to. To use a U-clamp bracket, feed the gauge to the panel and fit the U section of the U-clamp around this narrow point in the gauge's connection. Turn the bolts to create tension against the back of the panel. That tension is what holds the gauge in place, clamping the panel between the tension bolts and the outer edge of the gauge case. A back flange mounting bracket is the simplest bracket to install, and you don't need a pre-cut panel to do it. Just pick the spot on the wall where you want to mount it and screw the bracket into the wall with the flange forward. Be sure to keep the gap in the bracket flange at the appropriate location. For bottom mount gauges, that means at the bottom. For left or right sided mount gauges, it means the side with the connection. The gauge connection will fit into the gap when the gauge is pressed into it. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out DirectMaterial.com for great deals on all the parts you saw here today. And while you're there, check out our blog for helpful tips on this and other topics.